game design and has tons of experience in this field. We'll be starting in about 30 seconds. So stay tuned.
Thanks for having me, Shreyans. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here. All right, so we have hit about 100 participants. So, and it's 7:16, so I think we should get started with this. So hey everyone, hope you guys are having a great weekend. Today for us, for our live demo class, we have with us Piyush Tewari, who has studied from Lancaster University in UK and has worked with various companies in growth and strategy roles, including McDonald's. And he has over 15 years of experience in the game designing industry. And he would be the instructor for this course. So hopefully you guys are all about excited and pumped to learn from a really great guy about game design. Over to you, Piyush.
Thanks, Shreyans. I don't know about the great part, but yeah, game design is something that we can talk about for sure. Thank you, everybody, for being here on this Sunday evening. And please don't be baffled seeing me wearing a jacket. It's just the way I operate, right? I hope that works with you guys. So let's start with a brief introduction. We've got about 35, 40 minutes this evening, and I'll try and keep it flowing. Shant, just a check before we begin. Do we allow interaction with the audience in terms of...
Our chat will be open. We can keep our chat on if you would like that. So people can answer your questions in chat if you want. Unmuting people might get a little bit messy, so we won't allow that as of now.
Sure.
But any questions you have, definitely you guys can answer in the chat as well.
Sure, absolutely. And I hope you guys are going to keep a track of the chat so that I can focus on the content.
Yeah, we will.
All right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And to the 118 people present here, I have a small request. I would want you to have your video on, not right now. It's perfectly all right. You can have your camera switched on, but we'll be playing a small game, right? And post we've played that game, I'd like you to switch your camera on and share with the larger group what you've created. So that is something which I'll let you know in due course. So without further ado, let's begin. My name is Piyush, and I hail from the picturesque town of Nainital. How many of you actually been to Nainital, guys? Has anybody been to Nainital? Just on the chat, or you can just, yeah, Ananya says yes. Perfect. So I was lucky enough to grow up in this wonderful lake town. The challenge was that I lived on one side of the lake and my school was on the other side of the lake. Right? So every day my mom gave me $2 for the rickshaw ride across the lake. Right? So that's how the queue used to be, but I never stood in the queue. I was always outside trying to find somebody who's traveling alone so that I can tag along with him and on a good day, save ₹2. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you're interested in knowing what I did with those ₹2, but as long as the last bell rang in school, I ran down to my favorite place in the entire town. And let me tell you, that was not the cinema that you see. Right next to the cinema, the small video game parlor, that used to be my oasis, right? I could buy as many coins as ₹2 would let me and play Contra Mario to the maximum of my ability, right? And then I'd make sure I run back home so that I reach home along with the other people from my school who lived in the same locality, right? So that my mom doesn't figure out that I've been off playing video games. Little did I know back then that my real schooling was actually happening after hours. So today, I work with blue collar, white collar workers to help them up their skills using serious learning games. But my journey has been very diverse in terms of playing different types of games and then creating different types of games. And I hope I can give you a snippet of what I've learned over the past 15 years of designing games, but almost 30 years of my life actually playing games. So I hope you're all set for the ride. So we're going to talk about a couple of things today. As I said, we'll keep it short. So let's try and look at this from your perspective, right? We've all played games. So why don't we just do this? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds and I'm going to be on the chat window. So why don't you go ahead and tell me, what do you think is a game? Right? Quick 30 seconds, whatever comes into your mind. I see a lot of Bihar connection happening. Perfect. On the chat window. Whatever you guys feel. Okay, interactive simulation, set of events, Raman saying. Just waiting for a couple more. Okay, entertainment. Okay, entertainment. Perfect. Anyone else wants to give it a shot? Mood changer, fun, graphics, game contains small functions. It's for Maza, strategy, refresh mind, amazing piece of coding, task from which we enjoy, teamwork development, dopamine, addiction. Perfect. Thank you so much. All of them are right. A game is 80% of the time addictive. Who said that? I just want to see, because that's like really pinpointed. Any which ways. So let's talk about what is a game from an academic perspective, right? All of your answers are absolutely bang on, but let's see what a few game designers actually define a game as. So let's talk about a game from a game designer's perspective. Let me just take this to the next level. Just give me a second, guys. So I agree. All of the points that you've made are fair. So it involves skills. It's meant to be addictive. Or is it that a mind makes them? But think of it. What is a game? Right? It's basically a story that you're involved in. Right? A narrative that you're involved in, and you go from point A to point B in that narrative. And that's how you move forward. Right? So guys, just give me a second. I'm going to start sharing my screen again. But in the meantime, think of the game as a storyline, right? You engage with the game. And at the same point in time, you are a part of the game. So it's an interesting quest, like Surya says. But what about the guy who's sitting behind a computer screen actually designing that game? What do you think he feels that game is all about? So what goes behind the game is what I want to know. So anybody can think about what is a game from the perspective of somebody who's designing a game? Anyone wants to attempt that question? In the chat window. Okay. Let me have a look. What about multiplayer games? There's no story there. Okay, if there's no story, how are people interacting? Multiplayer games are actually bringing people in together, and then they're creating their own stories, right? So for example, let's say you're playing a Counter-Strike, on a LAN or a multiplayer game. And then that's where you can actually go ahead and create your own narratives, team up with different people. Pratham Pai says, my video is a little bit lagging. Achieve a certain goal and then win. Playing with friends is fun. This is Sancheti. Is my video all right?
It's
okay. A few people complaining about a lag.
There's a little bit of a lag,
okay,
but I think for the most part, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Just give me a second and I'll be able to share my screen. But yeah, you're basically involved in a storytelling contest as part of a game. But what really happens when you're in the game, right? So there's a somebody said dopamine is being released and you're moving towards a goal, so on and so forth, right? So just a second, I'm just waiting for my screen to come up. Just let me know once you can see my screen, guys. I just started sharing my screen so that we can look at the game from the perspective of how a game is designed. Okay, so I'm gonna put it like this. What if how many of you played Ludo? How many of us have played Ludo? Yeah. So what all is involved in a Ludo? Can anybody tell me what all? It's okay. I'm assuming most of us have played Ludo, right? So what all involves playing Ludo? Can anybody tell me? What all is a part of Ludo? So you've got a board, right? You've got pieces, which are the players, and the board comes in with a set of rules, right? So there are snakes. There are specific columns, and then the uh, blue has to start from a certain place and come back to a certain place, and the greens have to do the same, and the reds have to do the same, right? So that's the simplest game of Ludo. Now, what all is it involving? So there is a static element of the board. So that's one part of the game, right? Then there is the uncertainty, which is the dice. So think of the dice as a joystick for a game that you're playing on your television screen, perhaps. So the joysticks provides the uncertainty in that case, but in the game of Ludo, a dice. Perfect. So uncertainty induces excitement. But what about rewards? Is there any reward of playing Ludo? Are there any rewards involved in Ludo? Yes. What are the rewards involved in Ludo? Anybody wants to share? What are the rewards involved in Ludo? Sorry, guys, I'm having issues with my screen, so just give me a second here. I'm working on that. But yeah, let's keep on talking about Ludo and what are the rewards of Ludo. So if let's say there are 4 people playing Ludo, the only reward is, okay, whoever wins first is the first guy and the second guy. Or in real life money gaming apps, you can actually bet money and make more money, right? So those are the elements where you're being rewarded. So if you look at it, a game is primarily a combination of elements which drives fun, which drives reflection, and drives engagement. Now, games can be of different types and they can be utilized for different avenues, and we'll talk about that in detail. But before we do that, what I want you to do is I want you to play a game with me, right? While we're on this Zoom call, we're going to try and play a game, and the game's called Coat of Arms. Does anybody know what a coat of arms is? You guys seen Game of Thrones? How many people have seen Game of Thrones? I'm assuming most of you would have seen Game of Thrones, right? Right. So you remember the Lannisters were there, the Baratheons were there, right? And you had the Starks, so on and so forth. And each of those clans, they had their own flags, right? They have their own symbols. So a coat of arms is basically a symbol that defines you. So again, not many people have seen it, but you all been to school, right? So when you went to school, they asked you to put something on your blazer here, right? Which used to be the school badge or the school emblem. So Karan says it's actually played coat of arms, which is great, Karan. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just share my screen. Sorry, I've been saying that a while, but it's not kind of loading up. So let me just take a simple image. Okay, just give me a second. I'm going to just stop. Okay, so got here. Just give me 30 seconds, guys. Okay, so we're backing up and running. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen now. Let me know if you guys can see it. and we move straight into the coat of arms. Okay, so that is my screen. There you go. You should be able to see my screen now, guys. Shreyas, can you just tell me once my screen is up?
I don't see it as of now.
Sure. Right. So the badge that we have at our
Shreyansh, I guess he left.
Yeah, I think sir is
Shreyansh,
facing
just
some.
contact him once on call. Guys, just wait for another minute. Be a bit patient. I think he lost his internet connection, but should be back. Would really appreciate if you guys just stay for a while. In the meantime, maybe the chat can say, give a quick introduction about where you guys are from, so that we get some perspective.
Anyways, we have Harish over here today. So because this is unprecedented, usually this doesn't happen. But because we have Harish, let's make the best out of the situation. If anyone of you guys have any questions for Harish, you guys can ask him, and Harish will try his best to answer them.
Yeah, sure. Why not? What's the reason for changing the name? Yeah, so if you guys are not aware, we changed the name from Clinify to Blue Learn. The name Blue Learn is pretty simple. There's no major reason behind it, to be honest, but we wanted to build a learning community, and we wanted a name that's super simple to pronounce and everyone can pronounce and type it out, right? So that's why we chose Blue Learn. But to be honest, as I said yesterday, the name doesn't really matter. The work that we do is ultimately what defines us, right? So in the next 3 months, we'll be launching some really, really cool stuff for all of you, and pretty sure you're going to love it. So stay tuned for the product launches.
Someone asked, how old are you? Harish, how old are you?
I turned 21, so I'm turning old. How to contact you? Can I get a call with you? You can mail me at harish@clinify.in. I'll reply back. How to improve English? Well, you should ask that to Shreyansh. He speaks the best English. But in my case, I improve my English by listening to a lot of podcasts and talking to people. So,
yeah, I agree. Practicing is the best way to improve English. It's just practice, practice, practice. And we might be, launching something to help you guys. For those who are interested, we might be creating a safe space for people to practice their English with other people, and even with Harish and myself. So
Harish, you look like a 15-year-old, to be honest. Thanks, Jevin. Are you all from BITS? I'm from BITS. Shreyansh is from BITS. Viraj is from SRM. So yeah, we're from all colleges. The entire Clinify team is from different colleges. What about you guys? Which colleges are you from? You should try public speaking to improve English. Yes, definitely, Jevin.
Someone is asking, what is the mission of Blue Learn?
What's the mission of Blue Learn?
Yeah.
So the way we look at it is, a lot of people promote JEE, right? They say JEE though life set ho jayega. But then in reality, what happens with entrance exams is that you have a bunch of kids getting into IITs, BITS, and ITs, and then you have another set of, which is the majority of the students, like 90% of the students getting into subpar colleges. And now there's a huge disparity in the number of opportunities that you get in IITs versus other colleges. So we want to democratize that. We want to create an online platform which doesn't care about which college you're coming from, what your JEE score was, nothing. As long as you're driven enough, as long as you want to learn new skills, as long as you want to meet new people and be in a very smart community, we'll take you in. We'll teach you stuff, do all of that. You can manage all of this with college, and then ultimately just allow you to get as many opportunities as anyone else out there. So yeah, it's democratization of college education.
Some guys asking you to repeat your mail ID. It's just harish@clinify.in.
Well, we have people from Goa, we have people from MIT, IIT Delhi.
Yeah, we have people from almost all colleges in India. I think in total we have students from 2,500
Triple
schools and
IT
colleges.
Bangalore, a lot of folks from Bangalore, IIT Bombay. I feel Blue Learn should make an open website forum. Oh, chat forum is something we are working on. But in the meantime, you can use Discord to chat. There are different subgroups, so you can just join whatever you're interested in, start chatting. I'm a commerce student. Any suggestions? Well, doesn't matter what stream you're in. Just, I don't know what suggestion you want.
I think Piyush is back.
Okay,
Piyush,
great.
could you just 1 second? We'll unmute you and make a host. Viraj and Harish, can you
Yeah,
help
I've
with?
done that. I've done that.
Piyush, are you back?
Yes. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Hey, I've just joined in with my phone. My computer is acting a little bit cranky. I've just sent you the PowerPoint as well, Shreyans. So
Okay.
if you could share it at your end, that'd be wonderful. I'm sorry for the trouble.
No issues. Give me a minute.
Sure. I'm going to continue, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to talk a little bit about, during the time that I was away, just prior to that, we were talking about, how games are designed and what they actually do, right? So can you think of not games, but game-like elements that surround us? Can you think of those and type that in the chat? Okay, voice is not clear. How about now, guys? Can you hear me all right now? Is this better? Okay. I've just switched to headphones, so it should be better. Shreyans, please let me know if this is better.
There is I think you should switch back to what you were using before. That might help.
Yeah.
I think this is a little better.
Okay, perfect. So think about. Okay, somebody's asking me which game engine will I teach, Unity, Unreal, or Godot. So I'm not going to go into the specifics of any game engine, but we're going to talk about game design as a whole, right? Right from storyboarding to creation of behavioral inputs to the engines that you pick up, so on and so forth. Shreyans, if you can move on to the slide where you've got.
Which, this one?
Yeah, the next one, please. We can come back to that.
Got it.
Next one, please, where we've got the game.
Okay.
Right, so
Coat of arms?
So yeah, so these are some of the coat of arms. So people are saying the voice is still not clear. So let me just try this one more time. Just give me a second, guys. How about now? Can you guys hear me better now? Is this better? Is this better?
Yeah, it's a little better then.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to continue and I'm going to speak a bit slow so that everybody can understand me. Shreyans, if you can go on to the next slide, please.
Yep.
Okay, so what I want you to do is that on a piece of pen and paper, if everybody can draw this particular image, right, with 5 sections. Okay, somebody's saying voice is not clear, so let me just try and switch back. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. I'm going to join back on my laptop and see if the voice issue changes. Shreyans, just 30 seconds?
Sure. Hey guys, sorry for all of the disturbances. Usually we do not have all this. Anyway, Harish, I think if you guys have any questions, we'll have a Q&A again. But I think Piyush will be joining in about 30 seconds.
Okay, everyone's asking about your English and
Yeah, I was born in US. I was born and brought up in US. I studied there until seventh grade, and then I moved to India, um, and went to college and met Harish in college. But okay, my name is Shreyans, not Sanchit. But okay, I'll give you an introduction. I'm currently a fourth year student at BITS Goa, and I've met Harish in first year, and we've been working on multiple things. Apart from that, apart from startup or Clinify or Blue Learn, I really like finance and stock markets. I have been trading and investing for the last 4 years. Interned at Grow, um, and it's what I really love doing. So would love to talk to you guys about stock market or you know crypto market if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. Not now, not in this session. This session is for game design, but in the future session sometime. Harish and Viraj, just keep looking in case Piyush joins in. We'll have to unmute.
I think he's here. He's raised his.
Great.
Harish, just make him a
Perfect.
co-host.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, is my
Okay.
screen still visible?
Yes, it is. Perfect. And I'm so sorry, guys, for these constant delays. Technology has its on this particular image with 5 columns in it, right? And if you've done that, Shreyans, can you move on to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Is that I want you to draw an image. I want you to draw an image in
Are you guys able to hear?
No, dude.
Okay, so you know what? We can maybe postpone this session
Yeah.
or something like that because I think we have
Let's do
taken
that.
up
I think.
a lot of
Sorry,
you
guys,
time.
for taking up your time. I think we should postpone this session, but I promise you, the next session will be much better. We'll do the testing beforehand. I think Piyush's internet is a bit bad today, but then no worries. Thanks for coming in, and we'll sort of reschedule and see, what to do with this. And
Yeah.
really appreciate your patience. Thanks for tagging along. We still have around 100 people, so yeah.
Yeah, guys.
In the meantime, if you guys have any
110.
questions, you can
I'm
ask. Okay, Piyush, are you
I'm
back or should
really
we
sorry,
postpone
folks.
this session?
Yes, I mean I'm okay if everybody is okay to stay, but I think my internet connection is a little patchy.
Yeah,
So I don't know how stable this is going to be.
I think there's a high chance we
But
might lose you
I'm
again.
happy to
so-
stay on. Yes,
Yeah,
I
let's do
think
it.
so
Let's
too.
do
I
it
think
later
so
then.
too.
Yeah.
I really apologize. Everybody, for taking up your time and not making this a useful evening for you guys. But I promise the next time we do it, we're gonna do it just right.
Yep.
Or if you want to give it a shot for the next 5 minutes, we can just play the game at least and see, and maybe that's the fun bit for the evening. Do you guys want to just do the game?
Okay,
see how it
sure.
goes?
Sure, we'll try wrapping this up quickly then, and then we can start a Q&A session. We could do that because
Yeah,
we still
maybe
have
we can do
100
that.
people left.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we do just a simple Q&A? People, you guys can ask me anything that you want to know about this particular course. What language should we learn to begin with? So Anushka has a question. So let me just go on to the chat window and answer some of those questions. So again, see, game design is designing a system, right? So a system has multiple components. So let's start with a simple element like Ludo, right? So for Ludo, you need a system, which is your base, the mat on which you will have to draw those lines and all of that. So when you're designing a digital game, whether it's a learning game or a fun game, you have to first do the storyboarding, right? So there are different tools for storyboarding, and for storyboarding, you actually need narration. Now, the entire thought process of the game is just not the visual design. So what you see at the end are just the mechanics of the game, and what you feel are the aesthetics of the game. But beyond that, what we also have are the systems that provide you all of that. So for example, how do you narrate a story? So let me ask you a question, or just a rhetorical one. If I want to create a game for somebody to learn how to babysit, right? If you want to teach somebody how to babysit, what kind of aesthetics would you need? You wouldn't want the person to go on an adventure trail, right? Because he's learning something very specific, and taking care of a baby is an important job. So what you want to do is that you want to make it discovery led. So it is not going to be a hero's journey. So what we're going to do is that we probably use a contest where you're discovering every new element about babysitting at each level. So that's the aesthetic that I want to drive. Now, to drive that aesthetic, what are the mechanics that I need? That's what I need to look at. So what we'll do is that we'll basically break down the game into simple elements and say, okay, if I want to drive this particular behavior, what do I do at the back end? I am in India, Manik. I am in Nainital right now. I just reached here this morning, and I guess that's why the internet connectivity is a little bad. So we'll try and rectify that next time. Game asset creation as a profession. Okay, game asset creation is great, right? But I think you got to look at it. You can only create game assets once you understand game design as a whole. You cannot just look at it in silos and say, this is the only thing that I want to do. So for example, if you really don't want to design games, you can look at playing games, and Twitch is a great medium. People actually live stream themselves playing. Or you could, involve yourself in an e-league of the games that you're actually playing on. So great question, Jeevan. Jeevan Panchal is asking, will I break down the game in a top-down or a bottom-up approach? We're going to take a bottom-up approach. Please, we're not going to get into, we've got 4 weeks, right? So what I'll do for you is that I'll break down game design from the bottom up for you and tell you how you can actually look at different components. I'm not going to get into the details of the tools, whether it's the storyboarding tools or whether it's the design tools like Unity or Godot or Unreal. I'm not going to teach you how to use those engines. The objective of this course is to help you understand what all opportunities do exist in this domain, and how can you actually channel your energies. So if you want to work on the animation side, how do you learn Unity? So you can start working on Unity. If you want to do instructional design, what are the storyboarding tools that you need? If you want to do QA testing for games, what is it that you need? Those are the things that we'll talk about during the course of this game. So, is there a question? Yeah. From where to start learning game development? Is there any course? How did you learn about game designing? Great question, Niharika. I learned about game designing by A, playing games, and B, designing learning systems using business simulations. That's how I learned. And of course, like Clarify says, you can enroll and you can learn about game design. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to share with you my experiences of how I learned the trade. And of course, there are courses. You could go on to different platforms, Coursera, Udemy, and you'll find courses. But at the end of the day, those courses would focus on the frameworks and the tools of game design specifically. But they won't talk about the application of where is a particular skill being utilized and what is it that you need. Akshit saying, is it a paid course? Yes,
So
it's a paid course.
yeah,
Sorry.
so I'll jump in over here. These people are asking a little bit more specifics about the course. So I think I could answer some of those questions.
Sure.
So this course is going to be a 4-week live interactive course with Piyush as your instructor. So it is a paid course, but we have tried to make it as minimal as possible at just $9.99 for the basic plan and $19.99 for the advanced plan. And the thing is, you guys get to interact with Piyush at least 2-3 hours a week. There will be classes every Saturday and Sunday, and the timings will be decided for you guys. Right? Timings will be decided by you guys once you enroll. We'll be helping you guys out and deciding the timings based on when you guys are free. So don't worry about any of that. Some people are asking, is any prerequisites before starting this course? There are absolutely none. Piyush will make sure to start from the complete beginning, from the utter scratch, right? So don't worry about anything. If you guys have any other questions related to game design, Piyush should be more than happy to help answer them. If you guys have any questions related to the course, definitely ask those as well, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Piyush, back over to you.
Okay, perfect. I am sorry, Javin, I got your pronunciation wrong. So I am course correcting and I'm calling you Javin. I hope you're happy with that. So Javin's asking, what was the purpose of bottom-up approach for the first Mario game? Okay, I can't get inside the head of the game designer because every game designer is different. But I think the purpose or the objective of designing that game was to give a continuous narrative journey for people with which they can engage over a longer period of time, with challenges and hurdles built into it, with the Mario game. Languages, not really. Languages don't play a main role in game designing. I mean, when it comes to once you've designed the visual part, so let me give you an example. There are game engines now that take away a lot of the coding worries that you might have, right? So like Unity, you'll still have to design the visuals, and then maybe you're probably using a particular language. Maybe it could be HTML sometimes to write the codes of how the games would interact. But game engines like this one that I spoke about, Unreal, and then there are specific game providers. Like there's a Spanish company called GameLearn. They have a game engine where the scenarios are already built in. So all you have to do is choose what kind of characters you need, what kind of storylines you need, what kind of journey paths you need, and it's zero coding. So there are different modus operandis. So if you talk about a game like let's say a Half-Life, or Counter-Strike, or like a PUBG, of course you'll have to design the game and do the coding bit as well. But then there are engines that take away that burden. And not just fun games. We're also talking about, so edtechs boomed a lot, right? So let me give you an example. What if you wanted to learn time management skills? Yes, we can create a game without coding. So let's say time management. How do you learn time management? You could go to Coursera or Udemy or any of those platforms and sign up for a course on time management and go through tutorials, so on and so forth. But what if I told you there's a game that you can actually play? I mean, it's not available in a B2C format. It's available in a B2B format for corporates, but you can actually be a history professor and go on a world tour and learn the art of time management with inbuilt animated content inside the game. That's how far gaming has come as far as serious learning games are concerned. And that's what I specialize in, right? So instead of putting people in a classroom, whether it's real or a virtual classroom, you could just let them play a game and acquire skills by virtue of application, feedback, and reinforced learning. So You play a game, you make a mistake, the game gives you feedback, you apply it again, you get better, and you get on to the next level. So that's what that's also something that we'll discuss. Not just fun games, but also learning games and how edtech is changing with games as well. And not just games. The game design is the larger umbrella. If you think about the term that we all know, what is that term? It's gamification. Now, what is gamification? How many of you have gone to Starbucks? How many of us have been to Starbucks? Just a quick show of hands. How many of us know about Starbucks or have been to Starbucks? Okay, Jivins, raise the hand. Okay, Himanshu's been there, Niharika's been there. Herschel says, love Starbucks. Perfect. So a lot of people know Starbucks. And how many people have the Starbucks app on their phone? How many of you got the app on the phone? I'm assuming most of you do, right? So if it's your birthday or every purchase that you make, Starbucks is going to give you some sort of points or badges, and then you can once you've hit a certain number, you can go and get a free drink, so on and so forth, right? Similarly, Nike Run Plus, that's also an app which is a free app provided by Nike, and you can actually use it. And it gamifies or brings the elements of game design, but only simpler elements like competition, community, points, badges, leaderboards, which trigger intrinsic motivation. So that's how gamification is being used by tech companies all around us as well. So we'll talk about that also. So not just game design, but we'll talk about gamification and its use cases and how you can use these techniques, not just in your career, if you want to pursue game design, but also in your larger understanding of the business. So if you look at Facebook in 2015 or 2014 is when they just changed their algorithms and they moved it to reinforced learning based algorithms. So the system really learns based on what inputs you're making and then provides you a journey which is in line with your choices. So those are the elements that we'll explore in depth in the course. I can guarantee you that you could go to a Coursera or a Udemy, you'll find knowledge which is based on frameworks and tools, but not the in-depth experience that I would share based on my personal experience of working across fun games, serious learning games, and helping businesses create gamification-led engagement with their customers. If we consider challenge, scenario, code learning websites, yes, that's also a form of gamification. So think about what these platforms do. So let me take the example of one of the platforms of one of the coding companies. I'm not going to name any one of them, but a coding company for kids, which was recently bought by a unicorn. I'm sure you can all guess what company that is. They use a lot of gamification on their platform, to drive engagement. But that's just a part of game design. So game design is the larger umbrella, and gamification within is a small piece, right? So we're going to talk about that also along with game design as a whole. Good discounts and royalties at Starbucks. Somebody's talking about, so that's so Cyrilla says that, can you tell a little bit about Starbucks? So Starbucks is a coffee chain, right? So they have a partnership with Tata as in India. They're in all the major metros and they drive user engagement through these elements. So I think I've answered some of the questions that you guys might have had, and I'm really sorry for not taking you through what I prepared, but I think this is a fun tete-a-tete. If you've got any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Will your course be available next year? 10th grade is really busy. Javin, that's a good one. You cracked me up, buddy. But I think you got to ask the Cleanify team if that's going to be up next year.
Yeah, we would. If Piyush wants to take the course later, then we will definitely love to have you guys on. But for now, we have posted the link to the WhatsApp group and the course page. So if you guys are interested in registering the course, or if you guys have any more questions, do join the WhatsApp group where we will be able to answer your questions. Definitely you can call me, Harish, anytime, ask questions. And yep, now we've sent the link to join and register in the course. So you guys can do that as well. And once you do join the course, you will be enrolled, you'll be added to a private WhatsApp group with the instructor and the other enrolled students. So you can get, interaction, and you can ask questions directly to Piyush. And of course, you get access to all the live classes on the weekends, and you'll have Piyush as your personal mentor for lifelong. Right. So that's it from our side. Piyush, I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I'm good. And again, I'd like to apologize for not giving you guys a wholesome experience. I planned a whole game that we could have played, but maybe we'll do it when you're on the course.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds great. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much for staying. Thank you guys for coming. Hope you guys, learn a lot about game design and gamification and how big companies use it. It's a very upcoming and niche skill to have, right? So those who are interested and pumped about it, that's great. And hopefully you guys can kickstart your journey into this field. Again, do join the links that you've sent on the chat if you have any more questions. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Piyush, for
thank you, everybody.
coming. Yeah, it's great having you. Harish, maybe you could just end this session.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Yep.
Thanks, Piyush. Thanks, guys, for coming.